Hey, welcome back to Horns Up in fucking Bangalore. This is a place called 20 Feet High. We are literally 20 feet high up in the air.
Yeah.
Having, at least the three gentlemen around me are having Kingfisher draughts, and I'm having fucking Nimbu soda.
Straight edge.
Straight edge lifestyle. Who are the, so of course, one other gentleman with me is Peter. Hi, Peter.
Hey, what's up?
Are you adequately hydrated at the moment?
Definitely. No, man. You can't go wrong with Bangalore.
Yeah, the weather's good, the food's good,
Yeah.
the people are even better.
Of course.
So first up, another person who's making his second appearance on the cast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Welcome back, man.
What's up?
Who is that person?
Say hello to Nolan Lewis from Kryptos.
Yo, what's up, man?
And who's the fourth gentleman with us today, making his Horns Up debut?
This is Sandesh here from Cyclopean Productions and Bollywood Crypt.
Yeah, man.
I'm glad to be here and with one of my best pals, Nolan, and Peter and Animesh. It's nice to be here.
Yeah, man. It's great to have Bangalore boys. And yeah, for the longest time, we've been chatting about this, Sandesh. So I'm really glad you could come on the episode. And Nolan, it's great to have you back.
If Animesh was a cartoon, would he be animation?
Oh fuck! I've heard that too many times now. It's gone on from animation. It's gone on. So that's the way I used to introduce myself to foreigners because they wouldn't know how to say Animesh. So I would be like, okay, animation, but shun the un, and they'll be like, oh, okay, whatever. Okay, fuck that shit.
So-
What are we doing right now? We're gonna be getting into another round of Metal or Not. And and as usual, Peter, you've lined up some bands for us. And what do we decide on? We kind of try to objectively rate whether each band is metal or not on the basis of their album artwork, on the basis of their
Sound and
music
riffs,
or
yeah.
sound, the lyrics,
And
as well
overall.
as an overall perception of the band itself.
Basically, we'll be breaking many hearts today.
No, and you know it's cool because like the last time we did it with Sahil, the Demon Stealer,
Oh my
we got
God,
like
yes.
a lot, and you know between three of us we had like a lot of polarizing opinions. So now with four people, it's going to be a
Yeah.
lot more fun.
Yeah, but
Don't play Nickelback again.
Sorry, Sahil.
I still haven't checked them out, no matter how hard he sold it on us that day.
This
Perception
is how
matters.
You remind
Fuck! Okay.
how shitty I am.
Okay, no, wait. Okay, so this is gonna just be warned. There's only two mics between the four of us, so there's gonna be quite a lot of audio issues in this podcast. So I apologize for that. Well, not really, but
Blame it on the beer.
yeah, we'll just blame it on the beer. So Peter, who are we starting off with?
Okay, this guy is the poster boy of sorts, and he took a lot of pot shots and was in a lot of controversy over the last few years. But I think he did it for a reason, so it's going to be fun to see whether he's really metal or not. Let's go with Marilyn Manson. So to start off with, let's give our guests an opportunity. Here's Marilyn Manson based on artwork.
I don't like Marilyn Manson. I don't think he's metal at all. But I don't know. But I know Sandy's a big fan.
What do you think
Definitely
based
metal
on
for me? At least the first 3-4 albums, I really liked Antichrist Superstar and Smells Like Children, and the earlier one was really good. What is it called?
Lunchbox.
American Family.
Yeah. Portrait of an American
Yeah,
Family.
yeah, exactly. I like that album a lot. It was a lot more hard rock. And the time that we heard it back then, there were not so many bands that were doing such heavy shit.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that those days it was like, at least I know Nolan was also checking out Neurosis, Marilyn Manson, Ministry, Nine Inch Nails, and yeah, some of the other bands. I know Nolan doesn't like industrial too much, but those were the bands that we got, in the beginning that we were checking out. So yeah,
Animesh?
Marilyn Manson gets a definite metal for me.
In terms of artwork?
Artwork, yes, definitely. I mean, I remember the covers of Antichrist Superstar and Smells Like Children definitely look like metal artwork to me. I mean, yeah, you have a band that names itself with one, famous Hollywood actress and one serial killer.
Yeah.
So yeah, makes sense completely.
Dude, and like I still remember like the first time hearing of Marilyn Manson and seeing that artwork. I mean, the criteria we normally used was like if you saw it as a music store, would you pick it up as a metal artist or not? What do you think, Nolan?
No, man, I never thought Marilyn Manson or any of those bands, the industrial stuff. I mean, I have a very strict definition of what metal is and what isn't. So these guys never really fell into that box, They were like, it's something else. I guess industrial goth, whatever it is, but it was not my idea of what metal is. You know me, I'm like super, traditional when it comes to all these things. So,
Animesh, let's have your take on it.
I've learned this from Sahil, where it makes better sense to just Google it and check out the album artwork in front of you, because truthfully I've never owned a Marilyn Manson anything in my whole life, apart from The Beautiful People, which was the theme song of SmackDown for a while, and that's a wrestling reference, which is why I know that. Okay, looking at the album artwork, yes, it is metalish, but honestly it gives me more vibes of horror and somebody who's out to basically be a contrarian rather than being metal. So again, if David Bowie were to do a horror album, would he be doing artwork like this? Probably. This is similar to stuff I've seen from, I won't say Alice Cooper, but
dude, but like,
I mean,
I have a point to make. Okay, so Marilyn Manson basically grew up on bands like Kiss, Alice Cooper, and
9 Inch Nails.
Nine Inch Nails. I mean, but 9 Inch Nails probably was, an influence on him.
Yeah, huge.
Because I remember Marilyn Manson used to be a journalist at one point of time, and then he saw 9 Inch Nails at one of the gigs, and he was totally impressed. And when he started making music, and then Trent Reznor got in touch with him, and he said, "Okay, let's do something together."
And the
that's
first
how
album was actually on.
Not the first album. I think it was the second album that they started out with.
Yeah.
But if you can't say metal, but it's on the borderline of really hard rock and metal. But I think Antichrist Superstar is a lot more metal than most of his other albums.
And I think if you see with an artist like Marilyn Manson, who's always like pushing the envelope, he's trying to like shock people, and that's where you see
shock. That's the word. Yeah.
And that's where you see like the progression of his
That's the
artwork.
word.
It's just like he wants to get a reaction, and
So,
that's what he's done.
I don't think this is a metal particular artwork as such, so it
Yeah.
doesn't hit that mark for me.
No, definitely
not. But is it an interesting artwork? Definitely yes.
Yeah.
I mean, just to see that androgynous body on Mechanical Animals or something.
That's just one album. But if you think of it from a point of all the old rockers or the shock rockers, Wasp, Alice Cooper, and so many other bands.
Yeah, but Wasp still fits the image of what metal, like the first thing that metal, if you mention metal, Wasp still fits that image. What do you think?
Yeah, I think Wasp definitely they straddle that fine line between, hard rock, metal, glam, everything. They had everything, but they were, I don't know. If you ask me, Wasp were definitely heavy metal. They had
yeah.
My thing is basically, see, Manson grew up on all these bands, okay, and it's like a mix of goth, like Bauhaus, then Christian Death and Sisters of Mercy and all these bands. So it's like a culmination of all these things with hard rock. If you look at, I've read his biography and I've checked it out, and of course he was a controversial person at that time, no longer anymore. But
because
he took all those metal influences, he mixed up with goth, he mixed it up with industrial music, and he brought it out, to the masses basically.
Which comes great. It was a great segue what you said to like the next part where like there's sound music, like you classified it well. Is it metal, do you think?
Which one?
The Marilyn Manson, the music overall.
The music is metal. It goes on the whole hard rock metal. I would say it is metal. Industrial metal, I guess.
I don't know. I mean, I can't say that I've heard that much of Marilyn Manson because Sandy's the expert on Marilyn Manson.
Yeah, it seems like Sandy knows what he's talking about.
But whatever I've heard, to me, it's not really metal. It's more like Sandy said, it's goth, industrial, shock rock. You know,
I
it's all
mean,
that
he
stuff.
borrowed from all these parts, but underlining, I mean, guys like Twiggy Ramirez and all who played for him were actually proper metalheads.
Yeah,
and they played with a lot of metal bands. I mean, they would be invited to the Ozfest. Of course, not the new Ozfest, but the older days. It was bands like Slayer and then, White Zombie. Yeah, and so many other bands playing proper metal stuff. It's just that they had a very industrial vibe to their stuff. And I guess that's how it gets.
That's like if you take the context out, like if you listen to the albums today, the kind of music that they're listening.
Warning, sizzling being heard at the moment because there's a lovely tasty sizzler that has just appeared in front of us.
Yeah. But like if you take the context of just like the music out from that time, they were classified at that time, and if you look at it from the way their positioning was, to use a very marketing term, that's how they were positioned as industrial, and they were packaged. There was the whole package that they put. But man, I still remember listening to Marilyn Manson for the first time. Like, forget the imagery and stuff. It gives you the creeps, man. Like,
oh, completely. Yeah. Here's a question though, and I don't know this, so please educate me. Is there like standard is industrial?
No, that's the thing.
No. Yeah, so industrial generally starts with music like Throbbing Gristle and some of the earlier bands.
KDFM.
Yeah. KMDF was a lot. Yeah, they came a lot later. But I guess Throbbing Gristle and a couple of other older bands, which I can't remember right now, started this whole industrial revolution. And the music was mainly about a lot of controversial stuff, at least with the power electronics, which is another offshoot
of
harsh electronic music. So Marilyn Manson again took, as I mentioned, they took from all these older guys and from the newer generation of KMFDF and Nine Inch Nails and
Ministry.
Yeah. So most of this stuff is termed as industrial music, industrial metal music. Okay, so there's a difference between industrial music. There's a difference between industrial metal. There's a difference between electro-industrial. Like metal, there are shitloads of subgenres in this music scene.
And that's your 101 on industrial music.
Yeah, but, so that's the thing. Marilyn Manson, I don't remember him being industrial metal. I remember him being industrial.
Yeah, and that was the thing is, if you look at it, a lot of what he did was very, whether you agree, I mean, whether you like it or not, it was very calculated. The reason why he did certain things was all calculative. And I feel his sound was also the same that way. If he went to a certain harsher sound, he wanted to shock people. He wanted to get a reaction. If his image was put out in a certain way, I mean, just look at their characters and stuff like that. They wanted to get a reaction out of you. But coming back to what I said earlier, man, just purely on the music itself, fucking metal, dude. There's no two ways about it for me.
Okay, so I'm going to take a slight risk here when I say this. I'm judging them only of 2 or 3 songs. Okay,
fair enough.
I'll put him into the metal category. So yes, metal for me. But yeah, I like my base is very, very, very limited.
Right.
So it may just be that those are the heaviest things that I've ever heard from him. But yeah.
What about lyrics, guys? I know, Sandesh, you will have a bit to add in there. What do you think about the lyrical content?
This whole context is going about Marilyn Manson now.
No, it gets even better.
Again, in the vein of, doing shitloads of drugs, of course.
Yeah, it was fucking destructive.
It's not destructive, but actually, see, Marilyn Manson, if you're going to talk to him, he was a journalist before, and he was aware of how, you talk this whole shock rock thing. He knew how to take advantage of the audience, the media, everything, and that way I consider him as a pretty smart guy, okay?
Oh, definitely.
Who marketed himself very well, because those are the times, things were happening. Of course, he can't compare to the whole black metal scene. because his controversy is just happened to be at the right time when this whole conservative Christian America was basically against him, and that's how his reputation grew basically.
And that's why I called him the poster boy.
Yeah, definitely for the poster boy, for the rock and the metal scene, which was not introduced to the more extreme side of industrial or
But
metal.
I have a great way to kind of introduce him, and I forgot to say this earlier. Basically, Marilyn Manson, if you think about it, is like the hot topic of industrial. But that's how I look at it, because like
not exactly a hot topic. Okay, see, when you look at his older stuff or whatever, like of course Mechanical Animals and all became like a really big David Bowie worship album and stuff, but he's written far more better music than a lot of other people, so you can't call him a hot topic person. I mean, you would call bands like Creed or whatever are hot topic bands. Okay, I mean, hot topic, I don't know, maybe how much stuff they sell of these kind of artists, because they were too controversial for people to buy their stuff, actually, at least back then. You can not consider him as a hot topic thing, but I would say he would be the baseline for anybody to enter or understand. I mean, from the Indian perspective or South Asian perspective, the base, what do you call the entry? The entry band. He was the gateway band, basically. So I consider him as a musician who got me into the power electronics industrial scene. Not exactly because his music sounded like that, but I discovered a lot more artists after that.
No, and that's the thing, like, for somebody who was like in the discovery phase of music, and you'd say like, okay, do you think like it gets heavier than this? Do you think it gets more crazier than this, louder than this, chaotic than this? That was a great band to start off with, I feel.
Okay.
But let's wrap this up, because I got another cool artist to discuss.
Wait 1 second. I want to just add on to this point. Which shootout happened? That Columbine, right?
Yeah.
In which the one of the biggest clues or the biggest judging things that American society said was that it's because these kids were listening to Marilyn Manson.
Yeah. I mean, they aped him.
The shooter was apparently, I mean, they found Marilyn Manson records and stuff in his.
Yeah. So that's infamy, but for an artist like Marilyn Manson, infamy for all the right reasons to some degree, because that's building up this public image of sorts that this guy is whatever.
I would like to add a point. Okay, so this whole controversy about music, in terms of metal or industrial or whatever music that you call it, I mean harsh music. This controversy has been there from the days of Black Sabbath. It's been there, Judas Priest, all these bands.
Don't you remember the great Tipper Gore?
PMRC.
Yes, PMRC.
Twisted Sister, Kiss, etc.
I mean, think about it. Like, you had D. Snyder.
Not Kiss, probably, but I mean, if you have a song like Love Gun, of course, obviously.
Matt Mock. Mothers against the music of Kiss.
If you use music as a scapegoat to justify all the shit you do, then you need help in the first place. It's not.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
It's like saying I drank chocolate milk in the morning, so I went and killed like 10 people.
Yeah. And the most important thing is, I'll tell you, because I come from a communication background. I did communication. I actually studied the whole, the cases with stained glass, suicide solution, because we had media ethics. And it was a pretty interesting topic, because they were just blaming people who had nothing to do with the kids getting depressed and offing themselves or thing, because they were already in that state, so anything could push them. I mean, if you had some some bloody sandwich put in front of them, they'd probably shoot themselves also, or I'm just saying, it's so bizarre and so they just use these artists as an excuse where they could fucking throw all their hate and basically make an excuse. So and these artists were the excuse.
And Marilyn Manson became an easy target for
it's just not Manson. There were plenty of people in this. I mean, it was a time when all these guys were being boycotted, and this whole PMRC thing came up. But in short, artists were basically put as scapegoats. Okay, that's the exact word, scapegoat. For ills in the society that were happening, regardless whether the music would have been there or not been there, people would have just had an excuse to do that. It was just that these guys was an easy target, you know, to make the people behind this whole thing very famous. After them.
And if you want to see like Manson's take on the whole thing, Michael Moore did a great documentary, Bowling for Columbine, man.
That was killer.
Yeah, but Michael Moore became a complete cunt after that. Yeah, he's a but
piece
of shit right now.
You start off great and then you become a douche.
So wait 1 second. Let's sum this up right now. So one reaction from all, a simple yes or no reaction. Peter, beginning with you, lead the charge, please.
Yeah.
Marilyn Manson, metal or not?
Yeah. Yes, for me, definitely.
Okay, Nolan?
Nope.
Okay, he's saying no. Sandy?
For me, yes, between the fine line of hard rock and metal.
Animesh?
I'm divided actually.
You're the deciding vote now.
For more than his music, yes. Marilyn Manson is metal in terms of what metal is beyond the music. Yeah, that's my hard answer.
So we've got. What's the vote?
It's a hung. No,
it's a hung. It's hung.
It's not.
Okay,
It's 3 versus 1. It's actually 2.5 if you consider mine a half vote, but it's 2.5 against 1.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. on that note, let's try and get a different opinion on. Here's my next pick, Def Leppard.
Def Leppard aren't metal, but they're one of the best bands ever.
Right. So Nolan kicking it off, but Nolan, let's put you on the spot. Def Leppard artwork.
Okay, let me go back. The closest Def Leppard came to metal was on the first 2 records, On Through the Night, High and Dry. That was the closest they ever came to being a metal band. Some songs were borderline. I mean, you could consider them heavy metal, a few songs. But, overall, musically, they were always, hard rock with a metallic edge, I would say, on the first 2 albums. And then from Pyromania onwards, it was complete. It was just hard rock into pop rock, into whatever. But they never really had that metal attitude or that look. Because if you, for people who really know Def Leppard, they weren't influenced by all the traditional, retro metal, all the proto metal bands that came out in the 70s. They were always influenced by bands like Sweet and Sade and the New York Dolls and all these kind of David Bowie. They were more on the softer side of things, and it shows in the music also, and Queen also. That's where all the vocal harmonies and all that stuff come from. And even the artwork, it was. Look at On Through the Night, High and Dry, Pyromania. It's slightly, it's a bit futuristic, but it's not metal. It's more that it's straddling the line between Journey's artwork and maybe something more futuristic. Maybe but here's the funny thing. They were big Judas Priest fans. In fact, Def Leppard were formed after Joe Elliott met Rick Savage at a Priest gig. Wow. Yeah. They met each other at a Priest gig, and they were huge fans of, because Rick Savage, in an interview, he said he was vacuuming his mom's house, and the video for The Ripper showed up on TV, and he was like, "Fuck, I need to get this album." He got Sad Wings of Destiny, and he found out they were playing nearby. He goes to the gig, he meets Joe Elliott there, and they decide to form a band. So in that sense, you can thank Judas Priest for getting Def Leppard together.
Do you want to go take a stab at it?
Sure.
Definitely from my perspective, not metal, but hard rock, as Nolan says. But I guess I've never been a very big fan of the band. I guess if I was walking into a pub and they were playing the music and stuff, I definitely enjoy it. But not my kind of metal band, or strictly hard rock, I would say.
So here's my thing, right? And I spoke about this on one of our earlier episodes, or the first episode, I think. A friend of mine who got me into kind of like more of metal and stuff, I remember him burning a CD because he had like all these, and he used to like photocopy the covers, like he'd do the whole job and give me the CD and stuff like that. And he was like, "Oh yeah, check out Def Leppard. This is Hysteria. It's a metal album. So in my head, looking at the cover and stuff, I've been given the impression it's metal. And then I listen to it and I'm like, what? And this is like the early days of the internet, right? So you can't like score for much information and stuff like that. But like the tag that I kept reading about it, it was called, or they were lumped in the new wave of British heavy metal.
What?
That's the thing. When Def Leppard actually started out, they started out when NWO BHM was like kicking on. It was like hitting its peak. So they got lumped into that. And even till today, if you ask them about, if they actually were part of that movement, they say no. They were never part of that movement. They never had anything to do with them. They just got associated with that movement because they were from the same area. And
It was lazy association.
Yeah, it was lazy.
Dude, and so here's the thing. After this, I hear Iron Maiden, Power Slave. And now we've already discussed Power Slave. So like sonically wise, it's like a huge difference. So I was like, okay, I don't know what really new wave of British heavy metal is.
Okay. I'll first start off with the artwork.
Yeah.
No, it's not fucking metal at all. It's standard pop rock artwork. Definitely.
Probably.
Oh,
The latest
the latest
stuff.
stuff?
Even earlier stuff.
Even earlier stuff, man.
Rock is such in the earlier stage. Hard rock. Rock. Yeah.
That whole
Okay, rock.
that
Hard rock,
radio
rock.
friendly.
Yeah,
that,
radio friendly. That's what I meant by pop. I
Yeah,
didn't
yeah.
mean like pop like Michael Jackson. I meant
No,
I
but
meant
here's
pop
the
as
thing,
in
like,
popular,
if
pop
you
rock.
think about it, once they got lumped in and they had that label and stuff like that, I don't know how much of a say they had in artwork to begin with, right?
I don't know. Nolan could probably tell you more about that.
I know. Actually, back then, bands like Asia and all these bands were actually doing like pop rock, but in a very classy sense. They had this very futuristic artwork, but it wasn't in your face art. It is aesthetically.
What will become power metal later?
That's a good one. Great point. And all.
I mean the whole the artwork. I guess bands like Asia, Journey, and all these other ones, especially Asia. I mean the artwork is very power metalish. So I'm guessing all those bands took from the fantasy elements of Asia.
Yeah, but what I think about now is if you take like Def Leppard artwork and just replace it with any of the synthwave artists right now.
yeah, because that.
In fact, Pyromania, Hysteria, On Through the Night.
I love the Hysteria artwork.
Adrenalize.
It makes for lovely artwork. You can hang it
And-
up as a
and that-
poster and it's fucking
that's-
awesome to watch.
And that was my introduction to the band, dude. So like, what a great way. But moving on to their sound, because a band like them have kind of like gone through the evolution of the sound, and like someone mentioned right now, like strangely enough, like I remember also after getting that CD, remembering, and for those of you who were in India back then, they played in India, dude. Like back then.
Yeah.
But they lip synced.
Oh yeah, that was a whole different controversy of its own.
I mean, I heard about Def Leppard the first time, I think, through my cousin who was a big fan of Def Leppard and Van Halen. Yeah, so, I mean, I knew Nolan was listening to it, but I never, when I'd always go to my cousin's place and we'd talk about rock or music, and he'd keep playing Def Leppard, and it's one of his favorite bands also. But for me, I mean, I don't know, there's something that even hard rock, it brings this whole ballsy attitude, okay? I mean, yeah, Def Leppard had the ballsy attitude, but there's a certain sound for me that, I need in that example, Judas Priest, okay? I mean, that kicks fucking ass for me because I need that certain sound. I don't know, it's just this feeling that you have. And you say, okay, even if the band is hard rock, you're like, hey, man, this is fucking metal.
No, and just to add to that point, like, you remember that drum sound that they had back in the 80s?
Def Leppard they were never an aggressive band, Yeah. They were always, how do you say it, they were like the, for lack of a better word, they were more romantic band.
Photograph.
It was that they had those lilting melodies and, all that stuff, which it's like, it gets stuck in your ear and it's like, it's just in a daydream and you're like, oh.
Man, love bites.
Exactly. It's all that kind of, it's that soft stuff but the thing is, what I liked about them is they did it with so much, I don't know, there was so much conviction behind what they did. And plus, Mutt Lange had a big influence on them. Yeah. And it was everything. I mean, they had, if you ask me, if you have to write perfect poppy hard rock, Def Leppard is your blueprint. You know, Def Leppard or the early Bon Jovi albums, that's how you write commercial poppy hard rock with some class, with some, you know, it's not stupid music. It's simple music, but it's really superbly made, produced, written. Everything's just it's just awesome. You know, it's like shining a marble and, you know, just looking at it and stuff.
I think Sandy summed it up best for me when he said at the very beginning of the Def Leppard discussion that if you walk into a pub and Def Leppard starts playing, you know you're going to have a good time. You may not go for a fucking metal pub, but you know you're in for a good time, and that's about it. It's excellent rock music, excellent pop rock music. It's definitely not heavy metal.
Yeah.
It's what the next Kryptos album is going to be.
I fucking hope not.
Hopefully.
No, but you know,
See, I know Nolan too well, okay?
no, but like coming to the lyrics part of it, because like I think Nolan put it nicely where he talked about like being romantic. That was the thing, dude. Like, you know, it would be.
Peter, did you woo Karen with Def Leppard?
Pour some sugar on me.
It's gonna kill me.
But dude, yeah, I mean, like, I'm thinking about it because like some of their stuff, of course, like I'm again being a little biased to their earlier material because like I remember post them coming to India and then checking out their music and even their recent stuff, dude, like X and all.
Yeah, the recent stuff sucks. Everything after Adrenalize is shit.
I only like Now. That lead single of X, which was Now.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason why it was the single, but the rest of the stuff, and like, when I remember checking out X, I was like, wait, let me just check if it's the same band, are the same members that like I kind of heard back then on Hysteria. But yeah, but see, this is one of the things about like, and I talked earlier about, and I've talked actually on most episodes about like bands that I've listened to for the first time or albums I've listened to the first time. It brings that nostalgia factor on me again and again.
Because for me, Def Leppard were one of the first bands. Actually, they were pretty much the first band I ever listened to, along with AC/DC. And the amount of nostalgia Def Leppard brings to me, it's like I can listen to them anywhere and I'm taken back to when I was like 10 years old. You know, anytime, anywhere. There's something in their sound, you know. I can't even explain it. It's something so it's almost like it's like a time capsule. It's in their sound. It's in the way it's written. It's in Joe Elliott's voice. It's in the riffs. It's in the melodies. It's almost like, I don't know. You can literally put your hand through your speakers and you're back in 1984 or something like that.
Dude, and for me, it's that drum sound, dude. Fuck, what a drum sound they had back then, dude. Oh man, there's something about it. But come on, guys, let's wrap this one up. Overall, let's take a quick vote. Def Leppard, for all the nostalgia factor and everything, metal or not?
Not metal.
Not metal.
Not metal, hard rock.
Not metal at all, man. Nah.
Okay.
All right. On to the last one. Slipknot.
The table all just went collective size.
Sad size.
See, here's the thing. Like, just to put a disclaimer, other than me, neither Sandesh, Animesh, or Nolan knew these bands before because I kind of picked it. And again, I had no idea that Nolan and Sandesh would be part of this episode. But yeah, come on, guys.
Okay, artwork wise, yes, metal.
Oh,
Slipknot looks like more like hip hop to me, okay? And you know what? Problem about Slipknot is this whole clown aesthetic was fucking should have been left back then, you know, when it should have been left back in the 80s probably. Problem with Slipknot is, I don't know, there's probably this bunch of guys who thought it'd be cool to do metal. They're like, let's be angry or whatever and say, call their fans maggots. Even fucking Cannibal Corpse doesn't do that, dude. Fuck them, like.
I mean, I don't know. Slipknot is like, it's Neanderthal music for Neanderthal teenagers.
Not really. I mean, the real Neanderthals were pretty awesome.
So, what's your take
No,
on
wait.
that?
So, artwork wise, I would say metal. they fit the metal aesthetic. Okay, we're talking about them in a time. Artwork wise, don't get me wrong. Just album artwork wise,
The artwork is like, I don't know. It's nothing.
I don't even find it.
Yeah, there's nothing metal about
I
it.
don't even find it metal actually.
Yeah. And first of all,
Manson's way more metal than fucking. I mean, he grew up on all that stuff, and Slipknot so-called says, "Oh, they grew up on all this stuff," but fucking their music is nothing compared to.
but we're not talking music here. We're talking
We'll
artwork.
come to the music in a second. And the reason I say artwork is because I have a similar viewpoint in terms of Sandesh where I add to their artwork wise, because I know a lot of people are going to give me hate for this, but I felt like after the first time I heard Slipknot and then later on, it was more like manufactured death metal boy band.
Okay.
it's nowhere close to
Let me
death
put it
metal,
this
isn't
way: the Slipknot, I'm only reacting to the artwork in isolation. Okay, so don't get me wrong. When we discuss the music, you'll understand what I feel about their music. Artwork wise, the logo, the way typography is used, etc. It's very, very American, modern, consumer-driven metal.
Basically, poser music.
Yeah, it's hot topic. It's hot topic metal artwork.
I would say, I mean, I'm just looking at their stuff right now. I mean, it looks more hip hop to me. Honestly, I mean, see, my point is this, okay, if you're hip hop, just be hip hop, okay? I mean, don't fucking pick up the aesthetics of another genre of music, which would be.
Honestly, you know, when first of all, I don't know that much, but I've heard enough and I've seen enough. Okay, I think the first album had all the band members with their masks and stuff.
Yeah, the second album.
I
had
thought
skulls,
the first time I saw that, I
Iowa
thought
thing.
this was a joke. Actually, you know, it's like I thought it was like a circus or whatever. Then they had another album with a goat on it.
Yeah,
I'm
the
like,
goat
oh
side.
wow, how badass, you know, edgy and stuff. Like fuck, like Iowa, wow, fucking.
I'm not even discussing
Like,
whether it's like
jeez.
that.
And
Going
there
with the simple rule of
there
if
was
you were to
another
see it
one-
in a store,
I
would you think it belonged artwork
Absolutely
wise in a
not.
metal
It's
in
like
a metal
it's
rack?
like hipster. It's that, you know, I'm trying to be edgy and
And
metal,
that's fine.
but I'm not really here. I'm not really there, and it's just it's like I'm honestly I know a lot of people love Slipknot, but I have no time for them. I think they're the worst fucking example of. If anyone says if anyone recommends Slipknot as heavy metal, then man, that person has zero taste.
There you
okay,
go.
Fine.
I concur with him.
All right. Okay, so we'll get into the music thing. I agree with all that all that has been said, apart from the artwork, which whatever. But do you want to actually talk about the music now?
Dude, I'll tell you why. Because and the reason why probably I had
We
this
just
on there
had this chat in the morning.
is, dude, if you listen to their new music and their latest album, I'm purely saying because I still remember this was like, for me, when I first heard Slipknot, was the same reaction when I had when I heard Marilyn Manson. Like, oh my god, who are these guys? Because it was just like noise and like, you know, it was
Slipknot was the first metal, like the first, and I'm putting metal in quotes, that was recommended to me, that I listened to, and I had no fucking reaction to it.
But you know, the thing is, it's great in terms of like to shock somebody who has like no exposure.
No, not at all. You're not even shocking anyone with that kind of music. I'm sorry.
Kids get shocked with that shit. I mean, fucking when Slipknot, I remember when we heard Slipknot in the late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah, early 2000s. Early 2000s.
Yeah, we used to. Yeah, we heard all that stuff before it even became big in India. Like we heard all these bands.
Before it became big anywhere.
Anywhere,
actually.
yeah. and we were like, what the fuck? We never actually thought they would get anywhere because it's like, and all of a sudden this shit blew up.
I never understood the hype around the band.
See, and
I still remember, one of my very close friends, because he had the Slipknot album, but he gave me bands like Cradle of Filth, Typo Negative, and he gave me Korn. Okay, and Korn actually were way before Slipknot became a big thing. But I clearly remember listening more to the Typo Negative and Cradle of Filth. I feel, most of these bands, they took the aesthetics out of hip-hop, okay? You look at their albums, you look at their fucking clothes that they wear, those fucking prison clothes or the long...
Boiler suits,
Yeah,
yeah.
boiler suits or whatever. That's very hip-hop. I don't think metal has ever had that whole look, okay? And I think they picked up from those genres and then they brought it into the so-called metal scene. And that's how they, probably they offered something new to the people who are ready to be sheep.
No, but see, and maggots in this
maggots,
scenario.
Yeah.
But like for me, I feel, and looking at the evolution of the band, because I just was like checking out a few singles from their latest album, We Are Not Your Kind. Man,
Not my kind.
yeah, they're
Definitely not my kind.
And that's where I was going.
And
with that.
definitely not my kind too. I actually heard the entire thing because I was so intrigued that it became it's currently the number
Number
one
one in
mainstream metal album, right? And
No,
metal
number one album in UK.
number one album in UK. Fuck. So there must be something to it, right? But then I heard it and I was like, I loved it for the production value because it sounds great, but the music is so.
Dude, like, so here's the thing. Like,
It's just
I remember back in the day reading about Slipknot, and this is Rolling Stone, not India, USA, calling them death metal.
What?
Yeah, yes.
People call them death metal. I don't get. Just because people don't know what death metal is.
Yeah, and it depends on your reference for death metal. But for me now, when I'm listening to them, dude, where are the clean vocals? It just seems like so forced.
But I think that's their actual.
but that's what they've
that's
become.
maybe who they are.
And honestly speaking, Slipknot is basically an emo band which throws on this image of, like
Angry young man.
angst, and they got all these heavy riffs. See, just because you play heavy riffs and heavy music doesn't make you metal.
Exactly.
It's
and neither does getting 9 people together onto a stage and
3 of them hitting kegs and garbage cans.
So my point is, again, I come back to this whole hip hop thing, okay? Because here again, you look at it. I mean, most of these bands. See, this is my thing, okay? This is my problem, okay? Metal core, okay? Hardcore and metal mixed together, it's fucking horrible. Rap and metal mixed together, it's horrible. They should just stay in their own fucking places, okay? Because it really sucks. I mean, Rage Against the Machine, Slipknot, Korn. I mean, when you hear it for the first time, okay, fine, it sounds something different, okay? But as you keep listening to that stuff, it becomes fucking stuff that should be thrown into the garbage, basically.
Yeah, there's no substance to it. It's like surface level. Let's make it as. For
It feels manufactured.
It's for the mains for the
factory,
for the general public who don't really dig deep into metal music. They listen to a few bands here and there.
Yeah.
Something like Slipknot might seem, whoa, this shit is like.
That's a hot topic band.
No, and that's why I call them like the death metal boy band or metal boy band.
Definitely not death metal. Definitely not death metal.
Definitely,
Let's
definitely
come
not
to
that
lyrics.
metal.
So should we even venture
No,
down that side?
I've never analyzed. I've never even bothered to read what they are saying
I've
because it doesn't really interest me at all.
I've actually read some of the lyrics. It's fucking terrible. It's like what a 14-year-old would cry
Who
to his
would feel,
parents
yeah.
if they didn't buy him a phone or something.
The good thing about Slipknot is they gave us joint family.
Yeah. I'm sure Nolan.
Oh, God.
has another opinion.
I mean, that's the whole point.
I knew one of those guys, cool guys and stuff, but man, the music just sucked ass.
No, that's what you get when you want, like, when you get a guitar in your teens and you don't know how to play, and you just want to just let the angst out. It's
Alright, man.
pure
Let's-
party music.
I kind of see where this is going. So let's
If you want
wrap.
angst, you should fucking take a razor and just, it's not on the side of the road, it's down the road, my friend.
When the Slipknot album hit number 1 in the UK, US and stuff. I mean, before that, I thought the music scene all over the world was in bad shape. But after this happened, it's in worse shape than I could ever.
Right. So let's take a vote on this, guys.
Is there really a need to take a vote on this?
I think we are unanimous on this.
Absolutely.
Maybe not Peter.
No, man, but like,
Peter still doesn't want to agree.
no. But like, I think I completely am in the boat with you guys because for me, what happens, and I guess this is like over the years trying to get into like metal and stuff like that. For me, substance kind of matters more and where they're coming from.
I'm going to make a very controversial statement, okay? I think hip-hop, or early hip-hop or whatever, was far more dangerous than any of these fucking bands. Because
Agreed.
those guys, Slipknot is a bunch of guys who are, I don't know. They probably didn't have the same anger and all these things that these guys in the whole hip-hop scene. I'm not talking about, I'm talking about Tupac, and beyond that too. I mean, talking about NWA and Ice-T's band. What's it called? Ice-T, of course, and Run DMC and all these bands. I mean, if you want to sound street, or you want to sound, what's going on the, the street, or dangerous.
Be social conscious, basically. Right?
Not even social consciousness. You want to take an image from a different kind of genre and put it into a music that has no connection or vibe with it. It sounds false. Okay, I mean, it just sounds wrong, at least in terms of music, listening to the music, or in terms of aesthetics. So that's why those bands don't, I don't know, look at, I think Con just started playing shows recently or something. I read somewhere.
They're playing concerts inside a video game.
Yeah,
dude.
I mean, that's the whole point. These bands don't last. That's the whole
but
thing.
What's fun is that, like, similar to Korn and Slipknot, there are a lot of like new metal bands from that era. I mean, dude, Puddle of Mud have a new album coming out.
Yeah, but that's gross.
But that's because people who grew up in around that time now are 20 years older, have money to spend, and are yearning to reclaim their childhood life again. Which is why I'm pretty sure there'll be a fucking Crazy Town reunion or a Crazy
Town is happening.
Definitely there will be.
I bet they will not do more than 1 or 2 shows.
Or even if they do, they'll always be in demand. Slipknot, to me, remain... Okay, so to add to what Sandy said, all those rappers that he mentioned, they lived those lives. They lived their songs in some manner, which is why they knew what was happening to sing it or to prepare the song for that. I'm not sure where the angst in Slipknot comes from. The music isn't convincing enough for me to go and check out literally what they're talking about or anything of that sort. It sounds like generic riffs overall played this thing, and there may be good riffs, 1 or 2 here or there, but everybody gets lucky once in a while.
So
I agree.
So Slipknot, not metal.
So yeah, let's wrap this one up. We've got Marilyn Manson with a collective. I think that was a hung one, right?
No, it wasn't hung. It was 2.5 to 1, not
2.5.
metal.
Okay, 2.5 not. Def Leppard,
Not metal.
not metal. And Slipknot.
Absolutely not.
Let me add to that. Definitely not metal.
So-
guys.
So, what have we learned in this episode? We've learned that heaviness doesn't equal metal at all.
Yeah.
Okay, we've learned B, shock imagery does not equal metal. We've learned C, being clubbed in with other bands or rubbing off
Or being part of a
other
movement.
people's image is not metal. Yeah, that's all I've got at the moment.
So thanks Sandesh, Nolan, for joining us, having this chat. This is the fun part of the podcast.
Sandy, anything you want to plug?
Yeah, people listening to this podcast probably won't be very happy. But yeah, I mean,
But I'll tell you something. What is metal exactly? I mean, technically speaking, is early Black Sabbath really metal?
I think
now
it's
Nolan-
just a feeling, dude. There's just a
Nolan's giving us ideas for next metal or not.
Yeah.
I mean, what is metal? If to me metal is the same as as rock and roll, it's like you said, it's something you feel. It's something you can't exactly explain, but when you hear it, you know it, and it makes you feel a certain way.
Have you
So-
guys seen that movie that I think it was made in New Zealand about this zombie apocalypse that gets caused because of a metalhead, a metal band comes together and plays this one song that's supposed to call upon Satan.
No.
I remember it was a horror movie, but I can't remember what band movie it was.
I can't remember either, but there's a lovely scene in that about how people discover what metal is, and it's a visual depiction. So the dude gets asked what is metal, and he puts on headphones and immediately is transported into this land where he's atop a mountain and wolves are surrounding him and stuff, and he's like, I am the fucking king of this universe type of a thing. And then he introduces his girlfriend to that music, and she gets hooked onto it, and she goes like, she has that similar visual, right? I think it boils down to that. It is a feeling. It makes you feel a particular manner, makes you feel good, and yeah, that's what metal is.
You know, it's like you take bands from different genres from the early from back then. Say, okay, you take Master of Reality, which I think is Black Sabbath's most metal album. Then you take Sad Wings of Destiny. You take the first Iron Maiden album. Then if you you go to the thrash thing, you Kill 'Em All, or Killing Is My Business, definitely metal. You go to death metal, Scream Bloody Gore,
Yeah.
or Eaten Back to Life, definitely metal. Yeah. You go to Doom, Gothic, or first, or even Anathema's albums, the first few, Pentecost and stuff like that. Definitely metal, even though it's a different side to it.
Yeah.
The slowed down stuff. You take Epicus, Domicus, Metallicus, Nightfall, definitely metal. You go towards the black metal thing, in the Nightside Eclipse, or Shadow Throne, or any. Yeah, definitely metal. All this, the thing, all this stuff shares is there's an aesthetic to the whole thing. You know, they might
Correct.
sound radically different, but there's something within the music that
Makes
there's,
it
there's
metal.
something that ties
Yeah.
all of them together, which modern stuff does not have at all.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so you can listen to any of the extreme metal bands now, all the death metal, all the extreme bands that are going on right now. It's so, the feeling isn't there. It's just by the numbers. You know, we got to put
Yeah,
a
it
song
feels like
together.
they're just
yeah,
coloring by.
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
that feeling isn't there. That underlying aesthetic isn't there, and that's what actually makes you metal, or what defines it. And if you don't have that, then no matter what music you put out, yeah, it could sound exactly the same as any of the stuff, but
Yes.
yeah,
And Nolan did a great job of doing like a metal 101 by the subgenre. So for those of you listening, yeah, you should definitely check out those albums if you haven't heard them already.
Yeah, that's like a primer.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
metal 101, man.
Absolutely. Whew.
Wow, that's been quite a chat, huh?
Yeah, absolutely lovely. I think it left us all with a lot of food for thought at the end of it. And yeah, now that we are sufficiently filled, let's call it a wrap on this one.
All right, guys.
All right, Sandy, where can people find you on Twitter, Instagram, etc. if you want people to find you?
Well, I am on. My label is on Bandcamp, on Facebook. It's called Cyclopean Productions. I also run a movie merchandising project or company, as you call it. It's called Bollywood Crypt, and I do, horror mainly, and some maybe in the future maybe some pop culture stuff. But everything's pretty sleazy and stuff that you really like, I guess, if you have that sense of humor and irony, and I guess a love for horror.
Sleazy in the good way, mind you. Nolan, you want to plug anything?
nothing. Don't find me.
All right, and as always, Peter, you're at.
Trend Crusher.
I'm at Asmani. You can write into us at Horns Up Pod. See you next time. Horns up.
Horns up, guys.